Welcome to the Millcreek Government Channel. I'm Judy Zelina, and today I'm very pleased to be talking about a program that I'm proud to say Millcreek Township is partnering through LifeWorks, and these are going to be classes or courses that are going to be at the Millcreek Municipal Building, and this particular one is called Powerful Tools for Caregivers. And here to tell us about it is one of the trainers. She is the Powerful Tool Caregiver trainer. We have Lee Martell. Lee, thank you so much for joining us.
You're most
today.
welcome. You're most welcome.
We just got to chat a little bit about beforehand, and this is a pretty important class, isn't it?
It is. It's a scripted 6-week course.
Okay.
It's 90 minutes each week. And it's for those who are taking care of a family member. They are not professionals. They're people like you and I, taking care of a husband or a child or a parent that has a chronic disease. And the idea is to give them the tools to make themselves healthy, because if they're not healthy, they can't take care of the person who isn't.
And it's funny because even if you are taking care of a parent or a loved one, you don't think of yourself in the sense that you're a caregiver.
No, you don't. You know, in the first class we show a film about Alice, and she is a doll maker. She makes gorgeous dolls. Her husband has Alzheimer's.
Okay.
And she feels like she needs to take care of him herself. And the bottom line is she dies from stress, and she had a heart attack. And so because she didn't take care of herself, she passes away. So then the husband is left, and the daughter and her family step in and take him, and they almost end up in a divorce over it. And finally they realized that they need to take care of themselves. They went to counseling, and they put the father in a home where he could be well cared for. They could visit with him, bring him home for days to visit, and it worked out beautifully.
But these are some of the tools that you need to know
Right.
to implement when you are a
Right.
caregiver.
Right. And one of the things, the first class we talk about, of course, is how to take care of yourself first. If you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else.
And you know, that's important, because I'm going to tell you, Lee, so many, like my generation, maybe even older too, you almost feel selfish.
You do.
If you're taking care of you. You're
Right.
supposed to be taking care of them.
Right. And one of the things we talk about, every week we deal with something different.
All right.
And at the end of each class, we make everyone do an action plan. And we go around the room and discuss them. And it's something that they don't have to do. They don't have to do the laundry or the cleaning or take someone to the doctor. It's something they want to do. Get your hair done, get your nails done, go on a walk, read a book, go to the movies. And we ask them to write it down. We ask them how many times during the following week they will do it. And then they have to grade themselves between 1 and 10,
Okay.
whether they will succeed or not.
All right.
The following week, we go through. Everyone goes around the room and tells them how they did with their action plan and if they succeeded or not. And it gets them into a routine of doing something for themselves each week so they don't burn out.
And I think that's the biggest
Right.
thing is burnout, isn't it?
Right. And then we talk, one week we talk about self-talk, and we all talk to ourselves. I talk to myself out loud sometimes, but we can have negative talk, self-talk, and positive, and we need to teach everyone how to have positive self-talk, because it makes a big difference. If you tell yourself how awful you are and how awful the situation is, you become despondent, distressed, angry. So we have to teach you how to speak positive about.
Give me an example of how you would tell, okay, I'm taking care of my mother. I'm saying, oh, I screwed up again, I didn't do this, and oh,
Right.
Tell me something positive.
Well, the positive thing was, well, today I am going to do my walk, and I am going to take a few minutes of my time to read the book that I've been wanting to read. And I know I have to take care of Mom or my husband, but I am going to do something to make myself feel better.
Okay,
And that's why we get this action plan going, so they understand they have to do
that positive reinforcement.
Right. Then we talk about 1 week about you messages and I messages, and a good example is, you always make me feel bad because you say I don't do certain things for you.
Okay.
Well, we could turn that around and say, I feel like I haven't done the best job for you.
Okay.
And I feel like I would like to do something different. And you feel better when you take on a little bit of the responsibility instead of blaming someone else for it. You know, the blame game is really bad because someone who's sick really doesn't know really what they're doing.
Right.
And they don't mean to be that way, but they are.
And I think if you turn it into yourself and say, all of a sudden you've gained control of that situation.
Right. And throughout all these classes, there's two people who do the classes. We use flip charts, and we go through everything, and we write things down. So we'll use, for example, on the you messages, we'll go around the room and ask people to tell us a you message.
All right.
And then we'll go around the room and say, now, how would you turn that into an I message?
Oh, okay.
So it's very interactive, the whole program. And we keep the classes to about 12 because any more than 12, they're not going to share.
Right.
There's too many people.
Right, you're right.
And so we tell everyone in the classes what's said in the room stays in the room. It never leaves. And
I think that's important.
It is very important. So they feel that they can share. And they do. It takes them maybe a class or two, but they share.
Okay. And I think by sharing, you shared something that I'm embarrassed to even think that I would even think that. And someone's come out with it, and it's like, oh my gosh, somebody knows exactly what I'm feeling.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
We had a man in one of our classes who was 89, and he was caring for his wife alone, and his children lived out of town. And he was exhausted. But he came to the class, and he told his story, and we explained to him that it's okay to put someone in a nursing home. It's okay. And finally, in the 4th week, he came in and he said, I have an announcement to make. And he told us that he had put his wife at one of the good St. Mary's home.
Right.
And we all started to cry because he was crying. And he said, you know, it was hard for me to do, but he said, all of a sudden, the weight of the world has been lifted off me. I know she's being cared for.
Right.
I go every day to see her. And he said, I have all this time to do things now. So if we hit one person that really gets it, then it makes it worthwhile.
And there again is that guilt. You feel that you're supposed to do this.
Right.
You know, and I'm going to tell you something, and I think what you probably point out in the different classes, not every situation is the same.
Exactly.
Everyone is
different.
So different.
Right. We have, you know, we go around the class at the beginning and we tell who we're caring for.
Okay.
You know, for example, one woman was caring for her ex-husband, and his mother, her ex-husband had some, I think he may have had cancer.
Okay.
And the mother had Alzheimer's.
Oh my gosh.
Then we have someone taking care of a child, someone taking care of a spouse. I mean, so you're right. Everything is different.
It really is.
Yeah.
What I want to talk a little bit about too is this situation. There's so much stress involved.
Yes.
I know you deal with that.
Yes.
What are some of the suggestions that you give during the classes for stress?
Well, number one, we talk about the different community resources that are available, and we tell people to go after those because if somebody has Alzheimer's, for example, you go to the Alzheimer's organization.
Okay.
They can help you immensely, which can relieve a little bit of stress.
All right.
But another way to relieve stress is to do something for yourself. You can't be constantly giving care. You just can't do it. You have to take care of yourself.
You have to step away from that situation for a little bit.
Absolutely you do. But the main thing that we worry about is the guilt, the anger, and we all have that guilt, the anger. My mother was 99 when she passed away, and she lived here in Erie at an assisted living. And I went every day after work.
Okay.
And there were a couple days that I didn't go because I just couldn't. I just couldn't.
All right.
And I just would feel so guilty about that out of all those years. And my husband said, no, you can't feel guilty. And I did, but I finally had to put it to rest. But people do feel guilty, and then it just becomes a mental health issue.
Very stressful.
Very stressful. And then it's downhill. So we're trying to keep people up here at this level, take care of themselves.
And I think that's why this is so important. you know, relieving your stress
Yes.
and removing stress is such a powerful tool, because we know, we've listened all the adverse effects of
Yes.
stress on our
Yes.
life.
Oh, yes.
On our health.
On your health. Well, that's what happened to Alice. We always go back to Alice.
Alice?
Alice died because she had so much stress. She had a heart attack. Out she went. And it didn't have to happen.
No, no.
It really didn't.
And then, like you said, then the kids came in and they almost
Same
ended
thing
up
happened.
divorced.
Absolutely. And then the other thing we talk about is a lot of them say, well, our children live so far away and we can't depend on them. Well, have a phone conversation. Don't make the decision what to do with that person by yourself.
Right.
Have a phone conversation.
Okay.
Or Skype on your computer to talk to everyone. Let everyone help make the decision. You know, taking the keys away from someone so they can't drive. That's a terrible decision to have to make alone.
It is.
You know,
It
and I
really
had to
is.
do that because my mom had macular degeneration.
Okay.
And thought she could still drive to the beauty shop because it was only
Oh,
15
righty
minutes
then.
away. And I
Oh.
said, you can't do that. But I take the back roads. I said, I don't care. And it's terrible. It's terrible.
Did you have to come out and say, Mom, it's
Oh, I
time"?
did. I said, you can't do it anymore. She was not happy with me, but I just had to do it.
And then again, you're feeling guilty
Oh, I felt so guilty.
because they're
Right.
angry at you
Well, sure,
for
she was
doing that.
very angry. Yeah.
Well, because they got to go once a week to that
Sure.
hairdresser.
Oh, sure.
And it's only 15 minutes away.
Right, yeah.
So I was fortunate that my mother decided on her own.
Yes, you are.
Said, you know what, it's time, I'm not comfortable.
That's good.
You
That's
know,
very
and
good.
she's 91, so we've just been, you know, pretty lucky with
Yes.
everything that
Yeah.
she was able to do that. One thing I know you talk about in one of the classes, and I found this very interesting, because we come in, we try and take control of the situation, but communication's very important,
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
it?
It is. You know,
What are some
well,
tips on that?
I think that we need to, there's two different kinds of communication, and it's a very difficult class. There's the Aikido style communication, and that's where you try and find common ground. Well, let's take the checkbook, for example. The person who is the care receiver thinks that the caregiver is spending all the money.
Okay.
And I never get to see it because you're spending it all on yourself. So the common ground would be, let's sit down, Mom or Dad, and I'll bring the bank statements and we'll go through them together so you can see
Okay.
exactly
All
what
right.
we're doing.
Okay.
That would be a good example.
Okay.
The other one is called the DESC, the desk style communication. It's a very specific thing, and first you have to describe the situation. And the situation could be the checking account. Express your feelings. Mom says to me, you know, you're spending all my money, you're not paying my bills right. And I would express my opinion saying, yes, I am doing that for you. And then I would specify what would need to hit. I would specify, let's sit down and I will go through the checking account with you. And then the consequence would be, I did it. So that she would understand that I did it. But it
Okay.
has to be done in those specific steps. And it's very difficult. It takes a whole class to go through these.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, we are just touching, you know, the tip
Oh,
of the
yeah.
iceberg on
Right.
these.
This is the hardest class we have.
I would think communication
Yeah.
would be, because honestly, and I think a lot of times trying to communicate, they've already got it set in their mind
Oh, yes.
the way it is. So if you're saying, no, it's not A, it's B, it's
Yes.
B, it's B, they're still saying, no, it's A,
No, it's A.
it's A. So
You have to
trying,
find that common ground so that they and you know, I'm old and I can understand how you can get set in your ways. And
yeah, I'm old and I'm set in my
Yeah,
ways too, so
right.
good luck to my kids.
I know,
Yeah.
that's what I say. Good luck to mine. True. But I hope they all take this class.
You know what? This is really, really a good class. Now, this one I find very interesting that you touch base on is the caregiver's feelings, emotions, anger, and guilt, because
Oh, yeah.
heaven knows they are feeling all of those emotions,
Right.
aren't they?
Yeah, they really are. The caregiver is feeling the emotions, and I know that the care receivers, and I just know from what I've heard from people in the classes, the care receivers sometimes know what the caregiver is going through, and they have apologized, they've cried, and they've said, we're so sorry, but then the next day they turn around and do it all over
do
again.
the same thing again.
Because of the situation, the age, whatever the disease happens to be. But dealing with your feelings, if you can't deal with them, get professional help. And it's hard for people to get professional mental health, professional health. I think it's such a taboo subject still in this country, and it shouldn't be.
No, it shouldn't be. I know so many people, I would have to say not the generations coming up, they're very open.
I hope so.
For,
I hope
you know, help. I mean, there's so many books, so many resources online and everything, and they're not afraid to go to that.
Yes.
But I think we look at it as a sign of weakness and failure.
Right, and people just don't like to talk about it. And that's a shame.
It really is.
It really is, yeah. I know too many people who've died because of mental health issues, and it's not right.
No, it isn't.
Yeah,
it isn't. And I think the talking about the feelings, the emotions of the caregiver would be so beneficial with a smaller group, like 12 people.
Right.
And they can say, I felt that same thing.
Right.
You know, I go home and I feel like I have just totally failed.
Right.
And why did this happen to me? This is supposed to be the time of my life I'm supposed to be vacationing in the Bahamas twice a year.
That's exactly right. And you get one class we had about 15, early on, and it turned out to be a dud almost because nobody wanted to talk. There were just too many people. But then you get smaller class, they become friends, they exchange emails, they exchange ideas. With certain things like incontinence. One woman had a husband who was incontinent and wheelchair bound, so did another one, and they exchanged ideas on how to take care of it. So they become friends. They help each other each week. They see each other afterwards. And sometimes we've had follow-up classes, like 6 weeks later, they've asked that we do that, and we'll do it.
Oh, that's
And so that they
nice.
come back together and tell us how they're doing.
And how they were able to implement
Right.
these tools.
Right. Exactly.
Or the tools that they had trouble implementing
Right.
and maybe are still not able to implement them, so they get a little bit positive reinforcement.
I mean, it's always been, it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. It really is. It's so rewarding.
And I think that's amazing. You told me that in all your years in the healthcare field, that
This is the most important thing I've ever done, except having my children.
Well,
but other than that,
pretty important.
yes,
for your mom.
this has been, if one person comes out of the class knowing what to do, then I think we've succeeded. And we've always had more than one. There's always been a few that drop out, but very few.
Well, you know, you're always going to get those that say, I don't need this, I know what I'm doing. Well,
exactly.
Good for you. God
So
bless
I hope we have many classes. I hope that it's so overwhelming that we have to have 2 or 3 classes.
you. Oh, I hope so too.
Yeah.
Okay, now you talk about making life changes. Everybody's making life changes at this point, and it's learning how to deal with these.
Right. Giving up the car keys.
Yeah.
Giving up your home. That's, you know, for an older person to give up that independence of living in your own home, that's got to be just awful for that person.
I would think it is.
Yeah.
I really would think it is. And I think truly most people try and keep their loved one in the home as long
As they can. I know.
But then I think with these tools for caregivers, it helps give you some insight when it's time to say, you can't do this anymore, and it's okay.
Yes. And it's hard. And of course, I always use my mother as an example because she had to give up her home because she couldn't see. And it was 3 stories. And so we had to move her. And it was hard, but she adjusted because there were good friends. She made good friends.
Okay.
She's very outgoing, and so that helped. And we tried to make it a very positive thing.
And I think that's important.
Yes.
When you do,
You have to
give
make
a
it-
positive
right.
spin on everything.
Right. You know, you can't drive anymore, Mom, but I'll drive you. And so you won't have to worry about that anymore. That's a good way to spin it. And maybe you do have to move to a smaller place, but then you won't have all that upkeep to worry about. You know, so we can have someone come in and help you with a small assisted living kind of situation. You know, there's always a good way to spin it. And you just have to learn how to do it, and that's what we teach.
Well, you know, I think this is what's so important, and I'm so pleased that we're going to be holding this
I am too.
course here at the Millcreek Municipal Building. 6-week course starting in September, the middle of September through
Right.
the middle of October.
Right.
I did not write the dates down, but of course they can always give us
I
a
didn't,
call.
I don't know.
But nor do I.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have them at
Yeah.
work. But anyhow,
No cost, it's no cost.
that's what I was going to ask.
Right.
Is there going to be a charge
No,
for this?
absolutely not. The books are supplied.
And these are the books. Everybody is going to be receiving this book.
And it's 12 chapters, so we only cover the first 6.
Okay.
And we ask people to read a chapter every week before they come to class. Nobody does it because nobody has the time.
How's that work out for
No.
you?
So,
What I think is important about this is we do a lot of talk about the patient, and we talk about different diseases, different ailments, and everything. And the caregiver, I think most people just say, well, the caregiver, needs to take time for themselves, and
right,
then they move on to the patient.
right.
Boy, that sure is easier said than done,
It is.
isn't it?
It's much easier said than done. Yes.
And
Yeah.
this helps give us some good ideas.
Right, it does. It teaches you it literally teaches you how to take care of yourself.
Okay. Tell me again, at the end of every class, what do you have the participants do?
It's called an action plan, and we'll sit down and I will do one every week. We sit down and make a plan of what we want to do this week. For example, I think I'm going to read a book, and I'm going to read it maybe 3 days a week for an hour each time, and I'm going to give myself a 7 that I'll complete it, a 7 out of 10.
All
That would
right.
be mine. And maybe you would say, I'm going to go for a walk, and I'm going to do it 3 times a week
All
at
right.
Presque Isle, and maybe an hour time. And then the next week, you'll say whether you did it or not, and we'll go around the room, and usually people will say, well, I didn't do it because, or I did it and I did more and I just loved it and could hardly wait to start doing it again this next week. And then at the end of the class, we do it again, and we go around the room and tell everyone what we're going to do. So it gives us a little bit of interaction, and it gives you something to look forward to for the week, to do something good for yourself.
How do you help the ones that will keep coming in with an excuse and saying, well, I couldn't do it because?
Well, what we'll do is ask everyone in the class to give them a suggestion,
Oh, good.
and we'll write it up on a flip chart.
All right.
And usually, I've only had one person in all the classes I've ever taught that didn't do it. Just one out of maybe 300 or 400 people. So most people, they all do it. Now, at the end of the course, we ask people to do a long-range plan for maybe 6 months out.
Okay. Meaning?
But we'll never know if they did it or not. We'll just say, why don't you plan to do something that's a little more long range, like maybe taking a little trip to Pittsburgh, for example, and planning how to do that, to have someone come in and stay with the care receiver.
Nice.
And help you get away and have a little weekend on your own. And so we ask them to plan to do that. So that's their goal when they leave the 6 weeks.
And you also can help with resources if they do need to get away.
Yes.
And have someone either come into the home or to have the loved one go to a facility.
Right.
For a week
We
or so.
give them, during one of the weeks, we'll provide them with all the resources they need
Okay.
in Erie County.
All right.
There's a calendar out, and it just gives, there's an agency, and I can't think of the name of it, I'm just drawing a blank, here in Erie that publishes a calendar every year of all the senior nonprofits, everything. And we provide all kinds of information
Isn't
for
that the
them.
Independent Council on Aging?
Thank you. I belonged to it for years. I drew a blank.
Oh, that's a great
And
publication.
it is a great,
It's
yes.
up to date, and it's,
Yeah.
and it's broken down into housing,
Right.
food,
Insurance, everything.
insurance,
Right.
anything.
Exactly. So everyone gets that and anything else that we can locate for them. Yeah. So,
It is, and that is great because caregivers, you know what? It is wonderful that your loved one has you to be able to take care of them and to help with their needs. But they have needs too, those
right.
caregivers.
Exactly. Exactly.
And how long have you been doing this? Now you're a licensed trainer.
Yes, I started, I think we started this in 2006.
Okay.
And that's when I worked for UPMC Health Plan.
All right.
It was part of our gift to our senior members.
Okay. All right.
And so then I became a trainer, and I've trained I've done 3 sessions of 60 people probably.
All right.
And so here I am.
And this is, well, I'm glad. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're going to be right in our backyard.
Yes.
Now, people, of course, have to register for this and sign up.
Yes.
Do they do it through LifeWorks?
I don't know.
Probably. You would probably, if I would go on
I would assume so.
I would go on their website, and that is lifeworkserie.org, or you could give them a call, and their number is 814, and it's 453-5072. And just tell them that they would be interested in signing up for the Powerful Tools
for Caregivers. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
it's a program. Now, I know we're going to have one at the Millcreek Municipal Building.
Yes.
You have, how many different sites do you
Well,
do
that's
this
it for
at?
right now. This is
Okay.
something new
Oh, wow.
for here. Yeah,
Oh.
it's for LifeWorks to take charge of,
Okay.
which is good.
And we're going to be doing a lot more of it. I'm going to tell you, this will fill up.
Right. And we'll probably, if we have 30, 40 people, we're going to have more classes.
Exactly.
So, which I hope
Exactly.
we do.
I bet you do. I really do. Again, Lee Martell, and she is a Powerful Tool Caregiver licensed trainer. She's going to be conducting this workshop at the Millcreek Municipal Building, and I am really excited to see this come into play here.
Thank you. I am too.
For our residents here of Erie County. Another thing, it is being held at the Millcreek Municipal Building. It is not just for Millcreek residents. We are just a site, and it's just a matter of signing up and registering. Again, like Lee
Right.
said, if there's more than 14 or 15, we're going to have to
We'll split it up,
do something else, have
Right.
more workshops.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
So again, I'm very interested in reading this book. I'm at a point in my life that some of my relatives are getting older, and I know this is going to
Right.
come and help for me. Lee, thank you for joining us.
You're most welcome.
Letting our viewers know what LifeWorks has new.
Thank you.
And viewers, if you're interested in signing up, please feel free to give them a call, check out the website, or give me a call at the office. My number is 833-1111. I'm at extension 329. Again, I'm Judy Zelina. Feel free to give me a call, and I can put you in the right direction to get signed up for this workshop. Okay, viewers, again, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, have a wonderful day.
You're watching the Millcreek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.